Hi everyone, it's me. And if you like my channel, please like and subscribe. There's a notifications bell down in the corner. And if you hit that, you'll get to know when I go live or not. Okay, so first I'm going to save thank yous till the end, as I want to talk about some things I learned yesterday. Now, yesterday I went down to with Vicky to Ballard, and I wanted to meet people, of course, in our unhoused community and really talk to them and learn from them. And the first man I sat down next to, hi, be kind. The first man I sat next to, we got to talking, and he's like, I don't talk to very many people, and I was like, okay, well, am I bothering you? And he's like, no, no, not at all. Hi, Pasha. And so I was talking to him, and one of the first things he said, and it was really difficult because I was like, I could end the conversation, is he said, he goes, it's, and it's still hard to say because it was just like, wow. He's like, well, it's because of all those foreigners. They come over and they get welfare and they get free housing, and I don't. And, you know, then he said, there are men that fought for our country and are living on the streets, which is true. Um, and I was like, well, are you a veteran? And he's like, no, I didn't get it. He's like, I tried to get drafted. They wouldn't take me, which I could see was kind of a point of contention with him. Um, and during that conversation, there was a scuffle over to the side because a lady walked by and just said some nasty things to a man. And it was just, and of course, he was like, he yelled at her or whatever. But in the end, you just get tired of all of that. So when I started talking to him, and I was talking to him, and he's like, it's all the foreigners. I was like, okay, all right. And I wanted, honestly, to end the conversation right there because it is very difficult sometimes to actively listen to hate, especially uninformed hate. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, well, what foreigners are getting the housing? I don't know. Just all of those people from other places. Okay. Um, so what kind of welfare are people getting? Um, he had no idea. So he had no idea which foreigners, where their housing was, who was on welfare. Then it went to the addicts. And what I realized when I came back and I really listened was what he was trying to tell me is he was hurting because he wasn't housed. And so when I talked to him further, I said, well, everyone deserves housing. You too. It isn't that someone deserves it more. I said, even if it was a foreigner, no matter who it is, human beings deserve safe habitat. And he agreed with me. And then he told me he had Social Security. This was quite an older gentleman, and he had Social Security, and all it could pay for was 2 weeks a month in a motel. And I asked him, I said, well, do you stay in a shelter? And he had the same response that many of us do, which is shelters are extremely dangerous. Um, and he didn't want to be around the people, and he's not, going to be kicked out at 7 a.m. trying to find a warm place. And I get that. And so after listening to him, I realized that a lot of it was what we all do as a society, which instead of attacking the systems and the factors that are in place to keep the vulnerable, we blame the people that are vulnerable. And the only way I can think of to combat that is through active listening and lots of questions. Because I hear stuff like that a lot. Welfare is thrown around just indiscriminately for anyone who needs any kind of help. And the thing that gets me is that's what it's there for. It's there for if you're vulnerable and you need to get picked up, it's there. But here's the thing, and this is where some sort of disconnect happens, is where people think that that help is enough to live on. And anyone would want to be in that situation. No one wants to be impoverished. And the only thing that any kind of federal assistance, state assistance will do is keep you sometimes it will keep you with basic needs. So, really questioning people to find out why they believe the way they do, and combating that with education. And because the thing is he didn't believe that any person deserves not to have safe housing. He was just upset because he didn't have safe housing. And it was upsetting to him because he had money and there was no way he could pay for it. And he was frustrated and he was older and he was tired. Oh, thank you all. Good morning. Um, and so I really, after thinking about it, I felt just sad that that in that we are reaching so hard to find reasons that we are deserving or we are worth basic sustenance. And as a being on this planet, you have a right to safe habitat. It doesn't matter if you're Rowan or a tree or me. Habitat is important for the health of beings, all beings across the board. And we are no different. And if we want to solve the problem, it means that we have to take those steps, those proven steps, to get people into safe, healthy habitat so they can be healthy human beings. So, and this is not just, this is not just our unhoused population. We need to start getting our housed population on board with healthcare as well and their own well being. Because even if you are maintaining a home, if something happens to that home and you've had A, B, and C happen beforehand, the odds are that you're going to meet criteria D and E and be chronically homeless. And the thing is people are, I hear this a lot is, wow, you beat the odds, or I beat the odds, or someone beat the odds. And what we're saying about that, and what that saying is that the odds, the statistics of A, B, and C happening mean that D usually happens. Like, that's the rule. And when we say you beat the odds, we mean that outside of those statistics, you are an outlier. In other words, you are not the norm, because in many situations, A, B, and C leads to D. So that's what I got to say about that one. And then I went and I talked to another individual. And it was really exciting to talk to him because he was so excited that he had just gotten his CDL. And one of the places he was at, and he didn't name the place or I would let you know, helped him get that and has been helping him obtain and sustain himself while doing this. And so he was totally excited about it, and it was really exciting. And then we got on the conversation, of course, of why he's homeless and things along that nature. And again, it was a story of trauma during the early life and continuing. And he was trying his best to overcome, and he was really awesome. One of the things that got me again, and this is why this is called mental illness, is because recently, very recently, I have heard a lot of they're mentally ill. This is mentally ill. This is you know, and here's the issue. There are many kinds of mental illness. And that was one thing the guy had said, is he said, "I'm not mentally ill. I'm not crazy." And I looked at him and I said, "I am. I am mentally ill. I have mental illness." And he goes, "No." I said, "Yeah, I'm on meds." He's like, "Meds don't work. I've known so many people that when they tried it, they have to get him on this med and then get him on this med and then it never works." And I'm like, "Okay, I get that. I've had tons of meds that did not work." I said, "But you now know one person that they found the right medicine for and it works amazingly. And I am mentally ill. And mental illness does not mean that you are screaming or throwing things or writing things in your own poo, okay? Mental illness is a range of disorders and they affect people very differently. But in the end, it's an illness that, even if can't be cured, can be treated. And it can be treated well. But it also means perseverance. And we have to educate people, because I was really just horrified lately, between the story coming out, Seattle's dying or whatever. I was very lucky though. There were some wonderful articles put out in response to that. Um, but one of the things that I noticed was mental illness was dragged through the mud as if it was a defect somehow of merit, of morality, as if you weren't a good enough person, so this happened. And many times the people that say these kind of things couldn't name the part of the brain that makes them see. And that's sad. And so I educated him real quick, and he was just so shocked. Oh my gosh, a functioning mentally ill person. And there's many of us. There are millions, okay? And most of us you'd never even know. Mainly because we hide it really well or we're on meds. But that's how that goes. And I'm just really, please, if you have mental illness, don't be ashamed. It's your brain. Just get treatment. It's a thing and it's okay. Just as if you have a broken arm, please get treatment. It's okay. If you have problems with your heart, please get treated. It's okay. No matter what your illness is, please, it doesn't define you and it doesn't make you any less of a human being. And you, as a human being, no matter across the board, if you are a being on this planet, you deserve safe habitat, because that will lift you up and it will make all of us healthier. So I'm going to address some of the comments here. Thank you for the hair color comment. Hi, Kate. Um, Thank you, Hamant. Is that Losi? Hi. Yeah, you're right. Nobody should live on the street. Hi, Arian. About inequality. What does beat the odds mean? That's totally okay. I understand. Beat the odds is a saying that we use to, when someone does not follow a path. Say they break out of the cycle, like they were abused as a child and then say raped as a teen, and came out and say they didn't they didn't get PTSD. Okay, that would be beating the odds, because the odds are that most of the time when these things happen, this happens, which is a range of disorders, physiological, cognitively. And so when someone doesn't get those things, when they're outlying the norm, we say they beat the odds, which is they beat the statistical probability that this would happen. So that's what we mean by that. Yeah, absolutely. I have bipolar as well, and major depressive disorder, and some cognitive difficulties due to frontal lobe injuries. Um, yeah, it's, you know what? It's a thing, and it happens. And it happened for a number of reasons. But it is who I am, and it is a part of me, just like glaucoma is part of who I am. I mean, it is part of my body. It is something that I deal with and I get treatment for, like any of the other physical illnesses. And there is nothing to be embarrassed about. And I just see it being used to revile people, to label people, to put people in their place. And no, 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 and no. And one of the things I really remembered um, is that I remember coming back to camp and Gypsy was there. And I was so upset because it was like the third time trying to find housing and being told that it would, if I had an addiction problem, I could get into housing sooner. And I was angry. And I came up and I was like, what kind of needle do I have to put in my arm to get housed? And Gypsy, after thinking for a minute, looked at me. She goes, they want us to hate each other. They want us to blame each other. And that is the truth. No one, nobody deserves to be without safe habitat. And the thing is when somebody is addicted, so when they're addicted like that or whatever, however they're addicted, in the triage system, many times they are the sickest and they need it first, because it's kind of like, who's going to die on the streets first, and we take care of them first and then we move down the line. And so what I was trying to do when I said that, when I got back to camp, was point the blame. When what I should have done at that time, which I did later, is really hit the research and find out what are the real things that lead up to this, and accept, truly accept the right of all beings to safety. So that is, well, actually, Pasha, it does, and you're right about that. But it also, there's genetic reasons as well. Sometimes it tends to run in families. A lot of my family is bipolar. Um, it can happen from brain injuries. Brain injuries also are a cause. There are many, many reasons, but yes, all of them have to pretty much do with some sort of environmental factor, or, well, I'm not going to say that either, because it is, a lot of it is genetic as well. So trauma gets passed down, it's cyclical, but by recognizing it and getting treatment, we can educate people about it. And when somebody comes at, if you have a mental illness and somebody comes at you with, well, I'm not mentally ill, tell them, I am. Because most of the time they don't want to judge you like that. We want to judge the people we don't know. So, and I honestly don't want to judge people. That's tiring, I guess, It's it's ridiculous. I'd rather find out the reasons why and question and be curious about my environment and my world. So, that's what I have to say. And I'm going to get into thank yous. I want to thank Kate for being there. I appreciate you. I appreciate you believing in me and believing in my cause. and helping me get there in all the ways that you do. Um, I do believe we're probably all mentally challenged, but there is a difference. Mental illness means that the behavioral traits or the issues that you're experiencing are affecting your life in a negative way, which is making it hard to, or making it difficult or impossible to be able to function on a level societally and personally. And it gets to the point where it endangers your life. So I believe that most of us are probably mentally challenged, and most of us are probably mentally ill in some aspect. I think many of us have, and myself as well. I'm working on my cognitive biases to be able to overcome, stagnant thought patterns and unhealthy thought patterns, and really study that within myself so that I can help other people. Good. I'm mentally ill too. And it's okay. It's okay. And I just want people to know it's not a bad, I mean, it's an illness. So I mean, yeah, it's a bad thing. We want it cured and we want to do things to make it so that, we can not have this going on. But there's treatment and there's hope. And combat the I'm not crazy, it's whatever. Um so I want to thank Kate. Kate, thank you so much. You're amazing. And I just really appreciate you. I appreciate your belief in me, um, and providing me with tools that make it possible for me to do what I do. Bill, I'm really excited because I'm working as an advocate with Bill, and he's in Maine, and he works with Preble Street and Homeless Alliance for All. It's very, very exciting, and the work that's being done with continuum of care and whole health and housing first. These are real programs that are evidence based and are solutions. So that those are the things we need to look towards. And Kat, thank you for your messages and being there. And Liz, Maureen, I have to tell you, this right here is one of my go-tos for reflection and peace. And I want to thank you for sending this, because it's the pocket size, so I can carry it around with me when I just need that mindfulness, and I appreciate it. Um, oh, thank you, Be Kind. I appreciate you too, and thank you for following me. Um, the positive messages, the kindness that spreads, the compassion, the empathy, it's all worth it. And it's worth it it heals myself to be able to think with others and talk to others, and just see this world for the beautiful place that it is as well. Um, so I wanted to get into this, and I also wanted to say that Moosh, I put on my list this dog shampoo called Moosh, and it's great. Rowan is so shiny. She was a little butthurt last night with the bath, not gonna lie, but she is so awesome and shiny. But I do have to get off of here because I have a webinar here real closely, to do with homelessness and understanding homelessness of females. So I'm going to get going. I am sending my love out to all of you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to keep talking to people, keep gathering information, and just trying to be a better person. All right. I will talk to all of you later. All right. Bye.